Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Thursday, March the 13th. And of course, the previews on the board as well. We have a 9-game night tonight in the National Hockey League. So we started at the top of the board with your news of the day. Connor Zary will have a hearing for a hit that got some Canuck fans talking last night. Elias Pettersson, the defenseman Elias Pettersson, he is going to be out, I would think, for probably a while after the elbowing roughing that took place at the hands of Connor Zary. I believe it was called an interference on the actual play by the officials, so that is not one of the reasons that he's getting suspended. But Connor Zary has a hearing, so we'll see how long the suspension is for. I'm going to guess a couple of games. That's my guess. But we shall see. I don't think Zary's ever been in any kind of trouble with Department of Player Safety before. Vancouver-Calgary games, it's nothing new to see anything violent happen in games between Calgary and Vancouver. In fact, I'm surprised when they get along at all during games. For all of the discussion, I've talked about this before, all the discussion about the Battle of Alberta, Vancouver and Calgary have quite the long history as well of just really not liking one another. And so I'm not surprised at this necessarily because things do have a way of escalating and whatnot. But at any rate, hopefully Elias Pettersson's not out that long for Vancouver because he is really needed on the blue line. He hasn't shown a lot offensively, but defensively he's very good. And the offense, the potential is there for him as well. So let me know your thoughts. How many games do you think Zary gets? He's got a hearing, so he will get a suspension. Dougie Hamilton. So the only thing they said with Hamilton initially was he was going to be out for a while, and I'd seen week to week with Dougie Hamilton as well. Now they're saying that he's going to be out for the regular season, maybe returns if they get far enough in the playoffs. So if they get to the second round, for instance, there's the possibility he returns, although Tom Fitzgerald's saying they're basically planning for him not to return, planning the rest of the season as if Hamilton's gone until next season. So a big blow there because Hamilton honestly was having a really good season at the start of it. Did go through a bit of a rough patch there too. But his play had picked up right around Four Nations, and now he's going to be out. So hopefully he's able to return in the playoffs should they get far enough. Otherwise, rest up and come back for training camp and go for it again. Hamilton, it's not the first time, of course, that he's missed an extended period of time with injury. That happened with him last year as well. So it's too bad. Dougie Hamilton's a very talented defenseman. A couple of injury updates for all you fine people on the internet, starting off with Chris Tanev. He is a game-time decision for Toronto tonight. They need him tonight. He's missed the last 6 games. They need him in this one, though. Kucherov, dealing with illness, is a game-time decision. Tampa's in Philadelphia tonight, so I think they'll be careful. If he feels like he can go, they'll put him in the lineup. But if there's any concern, I don't think they're going to run that risk. Not to insult Philadelphia or anything, but it's not the same as if they were playing against Florida or Toronto and looking at a chance to move up. Although there's a chance for them to get closer to Toronto, depending on what happens tonight. Mikko Rantanen. So we've heard that there's a list. There was a list for Rantanen of places he was willing to play, and he right away tells Carolina, this isn't it, I'm not willing to be here. Rantanen's pushing back on that and saying he did not have a list of teams and that he went there with an open mind and he was willing to stay in Carolina if, the right offer was there and that, not that he was negotiating in bad faith or anything. So this is a story that we kind of thought was done, but I don't, like, Rantanen's coming out and saying, no, I was willing to stay with the Canes. So I guess it's going to be a case of us deciding who to believe between the two parties in this case, and then we kind of move on from it. But Rantanen's now signed a contract for 8 years with Dallas, but the Carolina Magnet's up there because this is about his discussion of actually being willing to stay in Carolina. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on which side you fall, or do you care? Are you at the point where you're like, you know what, just everybody go and play? Because that's kind of where I'm at, but threw that on the board anyways, we can discuss. All right. And the preview. 9 games tonight in the National Hockey League. We've got 4 starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, 1.5 an hour later, 1.5 an hour after that. And then we have 2 late games. So, it's 5. 5 starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, 1.5 an hour later, 1.5 an hour later, and then 2. Because I knew it was 7 and then 2 late games. So, not too bad for a Thursday. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. This is probably going to be the big one, right? You've got Florida in Toronto. Florida's 8-2 in their last 10. They are 2 points ahead of Toronto. Toronto is 2 points back of Florida, but they have a game in hand. So if they win tonight, they jump past Florida because they have that game in hand, and then they control their own fate. Now for Florida, 40-22-3 is their record. Toronto, 39-22-3 over their last 10. Florida's 8-2. Toronto's 6-3-1. And we'll see how things go tonight. If Toronto can win this game against Florida, that goes a long way towards potentially getting them that first place in the division. I understand there's still a lot of games to go, of course. But if Florida wins this one in regulation tonight, they open up a 4-point lead on Toronto, and then that takes away Toronto's control over their own fate since they do have that game in hand. So an extra that 4 points means that game in hand doesn't matter nearly as much. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Boston in Ottawa against the Ottawa Senators. Boston, 30-28-8. They're 2 points back of a playoff spot. However, the teams they're chasing have played fewer games than they have. Boston Bruins, 3-5-2 over their last 10. They've won their last couple of games. The Ottawa Senators, 34-25-5 overall. They're 5 points back at Tampa for third place in the division. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10. And so we'll see if they can maybe make a charge at Tampa. If Tampa is showing some signs that they're starting to struggle, and their last couple of games have been tough ones. So we'll see. But Ottawa has to get past Boston. And the last couple of games for Boston, they've looked the most relaxed I've seen a Boston team look maybe all season. No expectations can do that. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start. Tampa Bay in Philadelphia against the Flyers. Tampa Bay 37-23-4 overall. 7-3 record in their last 10. They're 3 points back at Toronto for second place in the division. Philadelphia 27-31-8. They're 4-5-1 in their last 10. They are 8 points out of the playoffs at this stage. So Philadelphia into better luck next year category, and Tampa Bay looking to move up. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. St. Louis is in Pittsburgh against the Penguins. And while this one looks like it should favor St. Louis, Zary starting tonight. Zary has a career record of 6-1 against St. Louis and a perfect 4-0 at PPG Paints Arena. So there you go. St. Louis 31-27-7 overall. They're 2 points back of a playoff spot, but they're 7-1-2 in their last 10. St. Louis playing very well. Pittsburgh 26-31-10. They're 8 points back of a playoff spot. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. Looking to play spoiler. We'll see if Zary can continue what's been some pretty strong play lately. Also at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Vegas Golden Knights in Columbus against the Blue Jackets. For Vegas, 38-19-7 is their record. They're 5 points clear of Edmonton for second place in the division. So Vegas, if they win tonight and if the Oilers lose, could get that lead up to 7 points, and so we could just basically declare them the winners of the division. But if they were to lose in Columbus and Edmonton wins in New Jersey, we could see that lead drop to 3 points. Love the NHL at this time of year. But yeah, Vegas 7-2-1 in their last 10. Going in against a Columbus team that are 31-25-8. They're 1 point ahead of Montreal in that last playoff spot. So they are the number 2 wild card. But Montreal is right there. 31-25-8 record for them. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10 games. If this Columbus amazing run is going to have a fruitful finish, they need to continue to dominate at home. They do need better results on the road, but they need to continue to dominate things at home when they get the chance. Vegas is not going to be easy. Not going to be easy against Vegas. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. The Oilers in New Jersey against the Devils. The Oilers 37-23-4, as previously mentioned, 5 points back of Vegas. They're 3-7 in their last 10. I made a video on the Oilers, and then Buffalo beat them. It's like my videos don't actually have power. New Jersey 35-25-6. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're 6 points back of Carolina. So they're pretty comfortably in third place, although technically Columbus could catch them. I do think New Jersey is very likely to end up third in the division. And as previously mentioned, they're going to be without Hamilton. We know they're going to be without Jack Hughes. It's not going to be easy for them. Then at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, the New York Rangers in Minnesota against the Minnesota Wild. The Rangers 31-28-6. They're 2 points back of a playoff spot. They are 4-4-2 in their last 10 games. The Rangers have started to have some struggles again. Minnesota 37-24-4 overall. They're 3 points back of Colorado. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games. And so for Minnesota, they're going to look to try to keep things going after that 2-1 shootout win over Colorado. The Rangers need more goals. They haven't been getting enough goals lately. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start. The Washington Capitals In LA against the LA Kings. So yeah, 10:30 Eastern. So that game would go to like 1 in the morning, past 1 in the morning for people. Do people on the East Coast stay up that late for those games? I honestly, and I've said this over the years, if I lived in Toronto and this channel started up, there's no way I'd be staying up till 1 in the morning every night to watch hockey games. There's just no chance. So I'd have figured something else out. Washington's 43-14-8 overall. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're 12 points ahead of Carolina. So they're winning their division at the very least. They're also winning the East. Whereas LA 34-20-9, they're 5-3-2 in their last 10 games. 1 point back of the Oilers. So if they can beat Washington and if the Oilers lose, say in regulation, LA could find themselves jumping past Edmonton tonight. Or again, we could see that lead for the Oilers grow if they beat New Jersey and Washington beats LA. But LA's very good at home. We know they have the best home record, so Washington has the best road record. Could make for a very entertaining game, couldn't it? 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start, Chicago and San Jose, a game that people may just kind of shrug off. However, apparently this is the first time Bedard and Celebrini have met up against one another in a game. So I'll be watching this because at that time of night, there will only be the 2 games on. The way this is scheduled, basically these 7 games take place and then these 2 take place. So better be entertaining, Chicago and San Jose. Chicago 20-36-9 overall. They are 22 points out of the playoffs. I don't think they're going to make it. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10 games. San Jose 17-40-9 overall. They're 28 points out of the playoffs. So 6 points back of Chicago, and they're 2-6-2 over their last 10 games. So there you go. Let me know your picks for tonight's games in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts regarding any of the news items on the board as always. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.